To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first things first, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes, sir.
You guys have any changes? Kate, are there any public, sign up for public thing?
No, none.
She said she was gonna call in when she gets to the house. She was working. Yes, yeah. Traffic issues coming from Astoria to her place, still that landslide or something.
Really? Yeah, the landslides.
So she said she was gonna call in when she. So there's, we have. Correspondence. Don't we have any correspondence? Then?
No.
Nothing in the packet, or we do?
Not unless the board receives anything.
Yeah, we did get a letter. I think just you and I did that.
Correct.
The board did get another email, I believe, regarding, the one regarding, firefighter Cordell. The email.
Yeah, that's not correspondence would be outside the organization.
Correct. Yeah, so that's the only one I could think of is the one you and I got.
Rick Jones.
Right, that's the problem.
I will forward it to you.
Thank you.
Forward.
You should forward it, you can forward it to Gary.
I would do it individually, so it's not good. Perfect.
Tim is present.
Right.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, guys.
Okay, we're just getting going here. We're I think we should recognize we have one contact correspondence, and so and we'll send, you'll get a copy of that, Kim, from Kelly directly. And then those move on to the consent agenda, which I believe includes just the board meeting minutes from the 13th of December, and then the cash flow analysis, which was a separate email. Was included in fact. Sure, anything?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Yes, we voted it. Cash flow. Second.
Is there any motion a second, any discussion?
Just looking at the minutes. And it appears to me they're incomplete.
It's missing.
It's got old business. I don't see new business in there. I don't see board members' comments.
Second page.
I can't find the second page.
It's on my copy.
On the back.
So,
Yeah. They didn't come out with you.
I have a,
It is actually the new business was the resolutions that we did. You're correct, there wasn't any old business. The new business was a resolution and this, and we got the board comments down at the bottom.
I got that. I was just confused because it wasn't.
Did print.
But that was.
There it is. It's on the back of that one.
That's new business. Okay.
Yep.
That's kind of out of order.
Yep.
All right.
Any other discussion? Discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Aye.
it's 5-0. Approved. And Jen. Okay, moving on and, chief officer report, so I did a few things here. Fairgrounds fire station lease.
Well, we've been looking for funding in the process by which achieving our strategic plan. For that funding, we've run into some more roadblocks. And part of that happens to be with that the 99 years for the fairground station has actually gone, we're at like halfway point now. So because we only have halfway point on the fairground station, we can't get funding for that. Chief Cole was instrumental in setting up a meeting between myself and some of the commissioners. I was trying to get them to sign over the property to us. Because I hate to spend money, district money, on something that we don't own. There's a lot of issues with that. The fairground stations in Deer Island, they're all antiquated. I mean, there's a lot of problems with the stations and the infrastructures that we have. And we can't keep throwing good money after bad. We just can't. I can tell you that the best thing that we can do is, and the one thing that the commissioners have told me that they're willing to entertain is to restart a 99-year lease. Okay, so if we redo the 99 years, what you have in your packet included is the lease, the original lease. For the fairground stations, the provisions, the site map, and the county regulation for Article 5 that allow the usage for the land. So I would request that the board do a motion allowing me to approach the county and discuss about getting a new 99-year lease to renew it now at the halfway point so that we can possibly get some funding for the fairground station.
So, just real quick, explain, so, because this was signed in 73?
74.
74, okay. And when you say we can't get any funding, is that just, I mean, we can't get a loan for it?
Yeah, because of what, we've checked loans, we've checked grants, we've checked all kinds of things, and everybody has said that we can't do it unless we're the owners of the property. Because we're only leasing it. There are a couple of agencies that had said that they would help us with the funding, but there's only half term left on the lease. They want to see another long-term lease in existence.
So 50 years isn't enough?
No. Everybody's, ever since 2008, everybody's real tight on the provisions for real estate property and the funding and federal government and all the loans office. They're really tight on that.
And so what you're looking for is just a resolution to just approach them and start the negotiation.
Right, to allow me to negotiate a new 99-year lease for the fairground station to be able to then we'll do a separate resolution once we actually get funding. But I just need permission from you to talk to the county to be able to renew that lease.
What would,
Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
you were talking about funding? Funding for what, improvements to the fire station?
The idea is that it's in the strategic, well, the 3-year strategic plan you don't have yet. You have 1 and 5, and this is just a draft. In the 3-year strategic plan, it involves like basically upgrades and remodeling that we're gonna be doing to St. Helens Station to fairgrounds and such. And there's like, it's like a domino step way, because we have to do it in a particular order so that we also fix housing. Because I don't believe in getting trailers and things like that. That's throwing away money. But if we do the upgrades in a very procedural pattern, we can shift people around without actually having to get trailers and dehousing. That's it, dehousing, is it? Well, whatever, they're not, and having places for people to stay. Right now, currently, we've talked to some architects, and that Deer Island Station can be reconfigured And we're talking about gutting it to the walls, can be reconfigured to house 5. That's the goal.
That volunteers or career?
That's career. Because then we can split up the St. Helens station between St. Helens and another station. And then gut St. Helens and do that too. You know what I'm saying? So, and that allows us to move people without putting them in trailers, without getting the expense of the trailers, while upgrading the infrastructures of our stations. It's sorely needed.
Didn't we just spend a bunch of money upgrading the sleeping quarters at St. Helens already?
Yes,
And you want to gut it and do it again?
good money after bad, Director. Good money after bad. That's what we're trying to avoid. If you actually were to St. Helens stations, you would see that regardless of what money that you spent, I mean, we have issues with the bathrooms that we have to address. There's no female bathrooms in that facility. That's like against ORS and federal statutes. I mean, there has to be a bathroom that locks. We had a leak in there. We did get some insurance money to go do that, but more needs to be done. You know, I mean, it's not in the strategic plan year 3. I'll be going into that what the strategic plan, because I didn't provide you a year 3, because there's a lot of things that need to fall in place before I can actually put the outline for year 3 in. The strategic plan that you're going to get at the end, which you yourself requested, Director, will be more comprehensive and more detailed. This is just an outline so that the board will realize that we are moving in that direction.
Any other questions?
No, I think as long as we're just talking about extending the lease, I'd make a motion to that effect. Grant permission to the fire chief, go ahead and contact the county commissioner of the county and see if we can get them permission, so it's, if they're willing to do that fast back. The rest of the.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah. We have 50 years left on a lease, which means we have plenty of time. So until, like I just said, I agree, good money after bad money, redoing stations and stuff, until I see something that speaks specifically to that with kind of an outline of like the priorities that we can follow. I don't see a point in trying to, I want to see what the priorities are. Have we done a housing station assessment? I understand that there's stuff that, things are leaks, you want to fix those right away before they cause more issues. I understand that 100%, but we have plenty of time to negotiate the lease. I'd like to see the priorities and outline of that, just like kind of an apparatus replacement first before I approve it. We have plenty of time.
Director, so you need point of clarification, please? I understand that some of us may feel that we have plenty of time, but the lending agencies do not agree. The federal government doesn't agree. 50 years isn't enough. I don't know why. I don't make that kind of outline. We're not talking about expending any funds. Worst case scenario, we lock up the lease for an extra 40 years. I'm not coming to you asking you to spend funds. I'm just coming to you asking you to renew the lease. Because I can't plan anything until I get the lease with you, because then I have no options. So all I'm asking is for the board to give me options to be able to pursue and put together moving this department into the next chapter. And as I said, I agree with you, Director. I think 50 years is a long time. Unfortunately, the lending institutions do not agree with that.
So what you're saying with the lease is you're saying that currently, since there's only 50 years left on a 100-year lease, you can't get any funding, people won't give it, but if we have, because we're in a lease. But if we re-sign a new lease with 100 years, then they're going to say yes.
Well, what they've said is that the statement they make is that they don't go by a year process. They said that the lease has only 50% lifespan left in it. It could be 5 years, it could be 2 years. But because it's only 50% lifespan left in the lease, they're not willing to entertain anything. And I've got this from several places. I address the lease first, because we're not gonna even talk options to you until that's addressed.
So technically you get a 50-year lease,
Sorry?
you get a 50-year lease. And then from the bank's perspective, we're beginning the lease.
Oh, I haven't even gotten that far.
But
All I know is that I presented the paperwork that I show you, and they said your lease is 50% exhausted. And then because of that, there's only 50% of lifespan left in the lease. No, you can't do it. But if we're gonna go through the trouble of negotiating, it doesn't make any sense to only get 50 years. We may as well lock it up for another 99.
But the point is that all I'm looking at is 100% timeframe on the lease.
That's it.
Period. That's all it is. So whatever it is, 75, 100, 150, 25, doesn't matter the length of time. As long as we're at the beginning of it, then we have an opportunity to get,
Yes.
if we go that route.
Yes, sir.
Any idea of the temperature of the room, the commissioners, if they're gonna renew it for the same amount?
They said yes.
Okay.
They
We don't have that, we
actually,
don't have that in writing.
I'm sorry?
We don't have that in writing, though.
No, sir. They said yes. They actually wanted to put it on the agenda and have me come out and talk to them. I advised them that I can't talk to them about something like that without getting direction from the board, allowing me to talk to them about that. So that's all I'm here trying to do.
Any further discussion? You have a motion? A second. Okay, hearing none.
So just to approach them to discuss it. Okay.
Excellent. Mr. Gross, it's okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
That's what yes, sign.
You're not.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0. Motion. Okay. I think that kind of in the next part, you know, regarding the strat plan.
Yep, the strategic plan that was submitted to you is a draft of the direction that we're heading. Some things will remain the same, as in the vision statement and the mission statement. The SWOT analysis that was done is current and is accurate with the information that we have. The market strategies and target customers have been identified. The year 1 goals and year 5 goals have been established. Most strategic plans have a long-term, medium range, and short-term goal. Generally, it's 1, 3, and 5. You do not have 3-year goals because it is dependent on several things. Again, without clearly identifying the resources to achieve the goals, that strategic plan isn't worth the paper that it's written on. So I have to establish the resources to put together something that's plausible. It was just submitted to the board because I know that Director Niles has been specifically asking about the strategic plan. So I wanted to present something to show that we are working, this is our working copy. Once we clarify a couple things, we'll be able to include year 3 goals and then submit the strategic plan so that the board understands the direction that I see this administration and the fire department moving into for the next 5 years.
Do you have a time frame in your head of approximately when you think?
No, sir, because some of the factors that are going to impact that are outside my level of control.
Chief, I like to ask, how? Well, I've only gone through a strategic plan one time. And what we did it, so it was a really long drawn out process with community involvement and down to volunteer and line people involved in helping with that. You see this as an outline or starting?
Yes, it's an outline. That's a strategic plan is been put together with the information and the issues that we've identified over the last 2 years of my tenure. It's just a start. Okay, but I don't want to tell you that I'm just starting a strategic plan I want to show you. I don't want you to hear about it. I want you to read about it. So this is just a starting point.
So do you envision bringing in those other players? As time goes on,
Absolutely.
because that's just my past experience. I'm not saying it hasn't been updated, because after all, I was here when this was signed, said before.
Yeah, but as I said before, if a strategic plan isn't matched up with the appropriate resources to achieve the goals, it's not worth the paper that it's written.
I don't know. No, it's, if you're doing strategic plan, it requires the input and the buy-off of the people that are going to, the boots on the ground that are going to
And they get the community.
be in the community that we serve and to, I mean, they're the ones putting it. You can write all the strategic plans you want, but if we don't have the boots on the ground to implement it, it's like you said, it's not for the paper, it's written.
You're right, sir, but as far as that goes, I'm the only one that clearly knows the resources that we have available. So whatever strategic plan and suggestions are made by the community members, the volunteers, administration, the body, it's only relative to the resources that we can identify. So you can say that you want me to build the Taj Mahal, but if I don't have the resources to do it, there's no sense in putting it in a strategic plan.
I agree with that.
I will contact individuals. I will contact and put it together groups to be able to identify what the greatest needs are. But these lists that you see here, they're not made in a vacuum. These lists are made out of conversations that I've already had with key players and personnel in this organization, weighed out by the resources that we have at hand. Because as we go through and identify some more things in the chief's reports, you're going to understand why I've kept it internally and localized.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I guess to be more direct to the point, our people are our biggest resource for us to put the plan for input and for implementation. That's my direct point.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, then let's, I think next on the list of state of the district.
That's something that's new. That's something that I'm gonna start doing now in January. Okay? Because I've been getting individual questions. I've been hearing whispers. I've been hearing all this stuff that's been going on. Well, tonight, we'll pull back the curtain. Tonight, we're gonna be going over the details. Because in closed executive session, the one thing that I will say is that I've heard many times by different people tell me, how did we get here? And I said to you, unless you guys have a French guy in the closet, there's no we involved, because I just got here. But I was groomed for this position. That's the way that it happens in the where I come from. They usually identify people, why I was selected, I don't know. But I was groomed for the position that I'm sitting in. My master's degree, my certification, everything was guided to put me in this seat. When this whole process was done and this board selected me as fire chief, that's only half of it. I had to decide if I actually wanted to come to Columbia. Okay. Now, to that end, I want to go back to the beginning of me getting here on the 29th of December, 2020, so that you will understand how we got to where we are right now. Then I'm going to tell you how we're going to get from today, January 2023, into the future. Because it's my job not to see the organization as it is, but to see the organization as it can be. Now, one of the things I'm going to be going over is identifying the difference between feeling and fact. Because I've been hearing a lot of feelings. And most of them have been unsubstantiated by facts. Now I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that, what that means to me. I feel that I'm overtaxed. I feel that it's not commensurate, that it's not fair. Sometimes the taxes they get is to upset me. Sometimes when I do my taxes by April 15th, I don't want to pay them. I don't think it's right. But there's state and federal laws that mandate that I pay them or I bear the consequences. That's fact. The fact that I don't like it, those are feelings. We're gonna go over the difference of both. So let's start. Before I decided to come here, I looked at a lot of things. One of the things was the health of the organization. On the surface, I saw you ordered engines, you ordered staff vehicles. You hadn't raised the millage rate in eons. That to me identified that the organization had a level of stability. In negotiating my contract originally, and I know this for a fact, the recruiting company told the board that there's no way you were going to get a candidate of my caliber for the money that Columbia River was offering. Am I wrong? I could have taken this position making $50,000-$60,000 more than I'm making right now, because I was making more than I'm making right now back in Florida. But I wanted to be in Oregon. I wanted to be in Columbia River. I told all of you that. And we agreed on some things, tangible and intangible. Up to those ends, you gave me marching orders, which was to look under the hood, to examine things for efficiency, to bring a perspective of an organized, regimented organization that could carry us and parallel the growth of this county and move into the next chapter. Which is perfect because that's what I'm groomed for. That's all I know. So let's get to December 29th, 2020. Okay, so I arrived. First thing I ask, look at the bargaining agreement, procedures manual, financial records, any contractual obligations, and property resources that the organization has. Got everybody together, this is what I want. The reason for that is because the fire chief is ultimately accountable and responsible for everything. I'm accountable to the board, as well as I'm accountable to the membership. There is nobody else but me. I mean, that's the way they run fire departments. That's the best practice across this country. I don't believe that fire departments get run any different in the state of Oregon. The fire chief is the guy that makes the decisions. Now, I take suggestions from all my chiefs, but they don't have the authority to make the decision. I do. And to make a decision, I consult them. I make the decision. And then if I have an Oregon state statute that allows me to make the decision, I do. If not, I come to the board. That's why you've been signing so many resolutions. Because there's an Oregon state statute.
And 478.
It identifies the responsibility of the board and the responsibility of the fire chief. The board has one employee, me. I have all of them. I am the only one accountable to you. Your job is vigilance, but running this department, I'm the subject matter expert, it's mine. I want to clarify that. Because there's been some confusion, I think, as to who ultimately makes the decisions and why. Now, I'm going to tell you how we got to this point, right? So that's the mindset. Now we're here. Okay. So instantaneously upon reviewing, first of all, let's talk about something that Director Niles brought up. Originally, I was here, Chief Smythe, how many hours was I here before you started with labor issues? 4 hours I was here. We started with a significant labor issue. Now, I've been in the fire service for almost 30 years. 24 of those have been as an IAFF member. There are members in the IAFF that are beloved by me. Beloved. And I would never want to disappoint them by thinking that I, quote unquote, went over to the dark side. So again, we're going to demystify a lot of stuff here. Well, I'm going to put these whispers to rest. Okay, so to that ends, I think, Director Niles, you made a comment to me about what am I doing about having a good working relationship? I've tried. I've talked, but I don't have issues. If there are issues that exist on the line, they should be brought to me. They should be brought to me. I should be hearing it. Chief Smythe, you just had a certain meeting today, a meeting a little while ago about an issue that we have. And at the end of the meeting, what did you tell people that were in that meeting about the decision making and who makes?
Chief, thank you.
Did you tell them to contact me?
Yes.
I didn't hear anything from anybody. I got an email like everybody else did. Nobody's come to talk to me. I don't know why. I don't know. One of the first things I heard when I got here was that I am
Not like the other parts.
from a lot of people. I'm not like any, I used to think that that was because I come from a larger metropolitan organization. I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to think part of it has to do with because I'm Hispanic. Because I can't imagine how anybody would get treated the way that I've been treated. Now, I know some of you have met and had conversations and said few things and people have talked to you. But you haven't heard what I have to say. But you don't need to hear what I'm have to say. Because I have my entire staff here and they're gonna verify it. So you don't have to believe. I'm a firing, which means you have to prove it to me. Okay, that's just what the fire service is. You gotta prove yourself. You're a rookie, you gotta prove yourself. You're a lieutenant, you gotta prove yourself. I've been proving myself for years. It's not new to me. But I'm gonna give you an example. Just so you don't think I'm exaggerating or making a big deal out of it or things like that. The meetings were getting a little bit odd, going in a direction that I really didn't expect. So I decided to take minutes. And I brought in Kate Leonard to take minutes from me. Yes,
What meetings are you referring to?
labor relation meetings.
Okay, thank you.
So I brought in Kate Leonard. She'd been here like a week, I think, when I brought her in for the first meeting. So that you don't hear it from me. Ms. Leonard, tell the board how that meeting went.
It was, the union members that were there were very disrespectful towards you. They were very upset about I believe that particular meeting had to do with vacation or sick leave. Buyback. I'd have to look back in my notes, but I remember walking out of it pretty shocked at how disrespectful they were towards you.
Okay, now, let me touch on that. And I appreciate her candor and her political correctness. Her eyes were teary-eyed. And this is what she said to me. They're not gonna talk to me that way, are they? To which I responded, I'm the fire chief. You don't need to worry about it. I won't swing at a picture of the dirt, don't worry. But now, you guys have been asking me questions. I have questions for you. If I called you a liar, if I called you two-faced, if I said that you had no vested interest in this department, if I said you don't care about the people here, if I said everything that you say is untrue, how happy would you be about that? And I've continued to reach out until they stop reaching out to me. You want to know? If you don't know, now you know. Because we've been talking about this behind closed doors. I'm done with the closed door thing. I'm very transparent in everything I do. Let's move forward now. That's the labor thing that's done. So now I'm looking at the finance. It's January, February, and it's like pulling teeth to get information here. Pulling teeth. So I had a meeting with the original finance director. And I said, this is what I want. I need to have it. We immediately started having differences of opinion. I understand everybody here has great opinion of the finance director. I'm not here to say anything. I'm not here to tell you how you feel about somebody. I'm here to tell you facts. Facts. We went over what the difference is between feeling and facts. Right? So in that, I'm trying to figure out irregularities. There's something wrong with the budget. I can see it, but I can't quite put my finger on it because I can't get all the information. So who do I go to? One guy that I asked to stay for sure. Chief Mike. He was the intern fire chief. He's got to know. He's the intern fire chief. So I meet with him off-site to discuss. Do you remember that meeting, Chief Mike?
Yes, sir.
What did I ask you?
You asked me the concern you had with the ending fund balance of cash carry forward. And I advise you, I have no idea because that is the finance director. I don't know how that's.
Okay, now he's talking about the unappropriated ending balance fund, which ORS outlines in the budgetary handbook. that I got and I looked over. Now, I was shocked, and to be honest with you, and I apologize to him, personally behind closed doors. I'm gonna apologize to Chief Smythe now in front of God and everyone. I didn't believe him. You can't tell me that the intern chief doesn't know the finances. The intern chief doesn't know the budget. The intern chief has no input. That's impossible. Again, I know how fire departments are run, and the fire chief is the guy. How could he not know? So I start going to the finance director, and that's when the differences of opinion start, and they were heated. We had some heated differences of opinion here at staff meetings. The very last meeting that happened in the end of May, the beginning of June, because I was being left out of the budgetary process, and I didn't like it. We had another meeting. This is what I was told. A meeting that Chief Smythe was in. This is what I was told. You just play fireman. I'll run the fire department. The finance is mine. Pretty accurate, Chief? Sure. Okay. That didn't go well with me. See, because I'm responsible for all that. My statement to the finance director was this: I will allow it to be our budget, but it'll never, ever be yours. Not as long as I'm the fire chief. I have to have input. I think a month or two later, she announced that she was, the finance director announced that they were going to another organization.
Correct.
Okay. So the budget goes through in July. No input by me, no input by anybody in the staff. Nobody knows anything. This is what I'm hearing. I still don't believe it. How can that be? It can't be that nobody knows. Can't be. Okay. Now we're July 1, we have a new budget. I've been here 6 months. Things start to turn a little. And I still can't put my finger on it. In November, the finance manager that I came under leaves. November 18th. And the reason that I know it's November 18th, because on November 17th, we had like a stack of just ridiculous amount of paperwork. I mean, like a stack this big, almost like the budgets. Because the budgets that you guys get here are like 150 pages. I'm telling you, there are too many pages for a regular man to understand. Okay. When I ask questions, here's what I got. You don't have an MBA. You don't understand finance. I have an MBA. If you had an MBA, you would understand. Here's the deal. When I took this job, I managed a $50 million budget before I got here. I figured $14 million would be a walking point. And rest assured, with my master's degree in executive management, I did take budgeting classes. And I do recognize when something is wrong. So I'm trying to filter through all the fluff, for lack of better words. And she's doing the same thing. Chief Mike comes to me and goes, hey, dude, can you figure out what money is? I was getting ready to say the same thing to him. I go, no. I was like, what? There's nothing here that outlines that. Chief Mike, why don't you elaborate on how that actually went down?
So late in the afternoon on November 17th, questioned the finance director in my office with the chief, and I asked, how do we get our money? Where does it go? And what accounts do we have? Because at that point, we had no idea. And finance director came to the office. I said, we'll start with LGIP. Well, at least aware that that's where all our money starts. Our tax revenue comes in. I drew it on my whiteboard. And I did a flow chart as we discussed for almost 30 minutes, where the accounts, how we pay payroll, how we pay our daily operating costs. And I saw the photo on actually the series of photos on my phone dated November 17th at 4:37 in the afternoon.
Okay. That was the first time that man right there knew where the money was. First time. First time I figured it out. At that point in time, that's when I apologized to him because I realized he had no idea what's been going on here. No one did. Okay, so now we got to figure it out. Oh, right. Okay. in that whole process, prior to the July 1 budget being done, I'm not sure if you remember the meetings. But the finance director announced that the PANS program was being eliminated. And she got all these the finance director got all these accolades for that. Well, now, let me enlighten you. Tetris, you ready? Okay. $350,000 was pulled out of the TANs 2 months before I got here.
300.
Oh, I'm sorry, $300,000 was pulled out 2 months. 2 months before I got here. Do you guys know about that? No, you didn't. And you know what? I didn't either. Because if I had, I would have wondered why 4 months later, you're eliminating the TANs. Because you eliminated the TANs that's part of the whole budgeting process and had been part of the whole budgeting process. So why would you handcuff me like that? So now there's no TANs. There's no fallback and there's no extra money. So now we got to start looking.
Back up a second. So 2 months before you got here, 300,000 pulled it. So was it paid back before we closed that account?
I don't know.
It was,
That's what that's what I'm asking.
It was,
so it was actually reflected in the board meeting minutes and the financial report that was given for $300,000.
okay, so now I have another question for you. So if the TANs was used 2 months before I got here, why would you close it?
When did October 8th, 2019?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. A year before I got here. Okay, because I got here in December of 2020.
So the October, so we need it for the unappropriated ending.
So, okay, so it was used the year before I got here. And then when I got here, it was closed. So now mind you, we don't think that the budget that I was gonna be working on was gonna need the TANs. Now, remember I told you that I hired a CPA to review everything. That CPA said that we've been in the negative for decades. And she couldn't understand why I got rid of the TANs. I was like, I didn't get rid of the TANs. I was like, we haven't used it in years. She was like, that's not true. You used it last year. Like, that can't be. Again, I'm going to be real with you because I don't know how to be another way. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. Let me know if you want to see it because I have it in writing right here.
Board meeting packet. And
Okay.
the financial.
So no TANs. No TANs. No money. No anything. No finance director. We looked across this country to try to find finance directors. We found one person that was interested. No experience at all, no experience at all in municipal government. I figured I have more than enough experience in municipal government budgeting to be able to help her, but she had a good pedigree in budget. So let's call her the intern finance manager. So she got here in January. I gave her 30 days to be able to get familiar with everything before I asked anything of her. By the middle of February, because the budget's coming now, right? Budget's coming. So by the middle of February, I get together with her and I'm like, what's going on? Well, I'm working on it. I mean, I see some really great PowerPoints, but there's no meat. There's no meat to the documentation sheet that the intern director is giving to me. We actually had meetings with the individual division about what the needs were of the department, how much money we needed to have. So she collected all the data. It was all there. February comes and goes. April comes and goes. By the end of April, I realized that we have to have 2 readings of this budget. And I have to have the budget for the county and for the state. And I got to figure out the I-20s and all the other paperwork needs to be done. So I'm like, where's this budget? Oh, well, I'm working on it. Okay. Now I need to know what you're working on. Now I need to know what you do throughout the day and how you do it. Because it is not your budget, it is mine. Okay? She didn't like that. The intern didn't like that. He decided to go elsewhere. Okay, great. I go, now that you're leaving and it is May and you've been working on the budget 5 months, give me everything that you have for the budget. You know what I got? I got an Excel spreadsheet with 14 entries. The Thursday before the board meeting. Now, I'm not gonna call anybody out. But there's somebody on the board here that said to me, you can't give us the budget at the last moment. I want it now. So we spent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12, 18 hours a day, trying to find a budget. Looking at things that had been budgeted and were in the budget and carrying them over. Verifying numbers, verifying costs. This is how much this costs, this is how much that costs. Okay. Let me explain to you how crazy this is. Because not only is this chaos, this is a circus. I'm gonna explain to you how crazy it is. You know, we have an individual because we've been paying full insurance for them and their family since 2010. That never reflected in the budget anywhere. We asked them to produce a contract. He didn't do it. At the time, he didn't do it. Whose decision is it for what action to take? Mine. Mine alone. Sanchez, what did I tell you to do?
Only cut it off until we can prove.
It's not something I do lightly. It's not something I do lightly.
Employee or retiree?
Retiree. He retired in 2010. We paid over $300,000
$1,000 in benefits
$300,000 in unbudgeted benefits. Let me tell you something.
that are not reflected in the budget.
Nowhere. We've been dealing out benefits and money like we were a blackjack dealer in Vegas. It's ridiculous. This morning, this afternoon, though, we did get a contract. Now I have to look at it and we got to identify because we got to pay it for like another 10 years. It's another $300,000. It's nowhere in the budget. I didn't budget for that. How could I see that?
But once we review the contract, let you know, but I believe it's 6 to 7.
6, 7 years more? Yeah, 6, 7 years more. All right, great. Great. I'm gonna tell you this. I've said it to you individually. I say it now in front of God and everybody. And I know that this organization has been run administratively and fiscally the way that it's been done right here, I would not be standing in front of you. We don't actually think that this was my only option to be fire chief. I could have been fire chief anywhere, but I wanted to be a Columbia River fire chief because of the potential that I saw here. You know what? I've told a couple of people that. You know what they did? You want to say to me? They called me a liar. Well, I'm telling you, just the fact that I'm still here should prove it. Oh, and the whole thing about not having a vested interest, last Christmas party, I wrote a check for $1,000 of my own money to be able to have that Christmas party. Show me a fire chief that's done that for people. Right. Right, exactly. Okay, so now we are, where are we now? We are in, oh yeah, we are, so we talked about, he's got Cobra, we've been paying for his insurance, over 300,000 unbudgeted. Now we come to July 1, which is my budget. That's the first one. Contrary to popular belief, that's the only budget that I've had input on. Did that budget. I said, I want to see all the contracts. I want to see what we pay. I want to see how we pay. In that, we identify that every working contract, listen to me, every working contract for this district is expired. Not a month. Oh, no. Not 2 months. No. Not a year. Not 5 years. Some of these contracts have been expired a decade. A decade they've been expired. Nobody asked this question. Let me tell you something. Some of the questions that I've asked has caused agencies like WHA to change their policies and procedures. Because I made viable questions that they really couldn't answer either. All right, so let's get off that. So now we're looking at the contract. None of the contracts are valid.
Or signed by people that don't even work here.
Oh, that's another thing too. Or some of them are actually signed by people that don't work here and never worked here. Let me give you a case in point. Case in point, Target Solutions. We have Target Solutions for 100 licenses?
Now we fixed it.
We have 100 licenses. We had 100 licenses we were paying for Target Solution. 100 licenses, and we pay by the person. There's not 100 people that work here. If you added all the volunteers and all the personnel, there's not 100 people that work here. But we're paying for 100 people, and we're paying for people that don't even work for this department to have Target Solutions. I'm telling you, this organization has been hemorrhaging money for decades. For decades. No feeling here. Let me know. Let me know. We'll pull it out right now. Everything that I'm telling you, I have documentation for. Everything. That's how I do business. Now, contracts are all expired. There are things that haven't been budgeted for. Nobody will talk to me. Still moving ahead, trying to do the best that we can for the organization. Right? So, in comes Chief Sanchez. I bring him in July 1. Luckily, he was in transition from one department to another, and I pulled him away. I know Chief Sanchez by reputation comes from Florida. I pulled him here. He's very capable in what he does. But originally, he didn't want to take the job. I had to talk him into it. But he had a very good reason why not to take a job. Why?
I told you that I've only managed $4 million work, and your budget was supposedly, you were supposedly 14 million.
Okay. He said to me, he goes, dude, I've only done logistics and procurement. And I've only done $4 million. I don't think I can do the job that you're looking for me to do. And I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can, because you got me, you're not by yourself. And I know his, by reputation, I know his work ethic. Okay. And we're talking about a guy with a full master's degree education. We're talking about a very capable person. So I brought him. But I wasn't going to make the same mistake that I made with the intern finance manager. So I contracted a CPA. This is what I told the CPA. You work for me. Okay. Everything that Sanchez does, I want you to look at and check. Everything. You have carte blanche and full access to look at everything that he does and everything the department does. This is the middle of July. By the middle of August, she says to me, I don't need to watch him. He's like, this kid's unbelievable, stuff he's doing. He was like, but you have a problem. She used the word grossly mismanaged several times. We haven't finally, we have, so now we become a team of three, myself, Chief Sanchez, and our CPA. We have a meeting. You know what she says? You're not making payroll come October? You're not making October's payroll. And I was like, what do you mean we're not making October's payroll? She's like, I'm looking at your number. You are not going to be able to pay your people come October. You're not going to be able to do it. Now, the reason that we're not discussing this on the lowdown is because I know not only that it's recorded, this is public record. So if you don't know, now you'll know. So now we're not going to have money to pay our guys come October. So now I got to make some decisions. I got to look at everything. Every time I turn over a rock, I find some other thing. Yeah, feeling, not fact. And not just a thing. Actual violations of Oregon state statute. Now, I want you to understand this. I clarified that there's an ORS that identifies the board's responsibility. Trust me, I'm educated enough to have gone over it in detail. I am your employee. We can talk about things, but the management of this department is my decision because I was selected for the board as a subject matter to manage this organization. Now, I want you to understand this, whether it's you five or five people that are just like, there's something that you definitely can't do. You can't make me violate Oregon state statute, and I won't. I won't. So now we go to the process of crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. Okay. Now we're looking at the individual components. We looked at contracts. The next thing we looked at, and I'm going to whiteboard this one for you so you can understand what it is I'm talking about. So I looked at grants. So I told Chief Sanchez, I want to know how much we spent on grant going back to 2018. He goes, okay. On the board here, so we can actually go over it together, so you can understand this nightmare that we've been living for the last 2 years. Chief Sanchez, how much have we spent on grants in 2018?
$1,049,802.18.
1 million, how much?
$1,049,802.18.
49,000, whatever, 49,000. Finance
The
guys.
key thing to that is what was supposed to be spent off of the grant.
Okay, that's what we were supposed to spend. Okay, well, no, I thought we actually had spent most of that money.
That's what we spent it, but they thought it was gonna be paid for by.
Okay, you're right. So the idea was that we were gonna spend that money, but we were gonna have grants that reimbursed us that money. Any of this sound familiar? Because the grant paid for several things, and we're gonna go over it right now. The grant pays for the RSVP program. The grant pays for a recruitment and retention officer or a coordinator. The grant pays for a community paramedic, and the grants were supposed to pay for equipment and recruitment and retention stuff for the volunteer services. $1,049,000 and change. Okay, now, out of that $1,049,000, we were supposed to get how much money?
Well, they believed we were gonna get reimbursement when they were putting that in prior to.
How much? Just so we know.
So of one grant, we were-
Tell me the whole number.
the total was 906,000.
Okay, so from this, we were supposed to get 906,000. Now,
$217.50.
how much? Jesus Christ, how much was it now?
$906,217.
Okay, whatever. It was $906,000. Okay, now, as you see, the money that we're supposed to get is different from the money that we've already spent. Okay, roughly $100,000. So let's put this over here.
143.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Roughly $100,000, right? Because remember, this all stems from the how did we get here? So now we're $100,000 in the red just from the expenditures. That's if we got 906,000. Sanchez, to date, how much money have we got?
Total $338,300.05. To which they are about to expire. And that is a direct report from.
Okay, let's say 340,000. We didn't get 906. We got 340. We were already $100,000 down.
You can tack on 20 for an AFG, but that's it.
Okay, whatever, 340. That's all we physically got. There's a difference between 3 and 9. Even for a fireman, an old fireman like me, that's like about roughly 600,000. I'm rounding 600,000, right? Let's put the 600,000 over here. Now we have this insurance that we've been paying for on an individual that I had no idea, nobody had any idea. Since 2010, which does that cost us?
300,000.
Are we seeing a pattern here? Here's the best one. Do you remember that I recommended the termination of the RSVP program because everybody here said that the RSVP program is funded completely by grant? More math. The grant was 76,000. In the budget, in July of my first year that I told you, I wasn't allowed any access to it. And there was a lot of confrontation over that. Look it up. I have it right here. $81,000 was budgeted for it. Where did the other $5,000 come from? Your guess is as good as mine. Here's the best part. Do you know what the coordinator position costs us with pay and benefits? $110,000. You notice that I'm not using any notes, right? The reason I'm not using any notes is because I've lived this and eat this for 2 years. I am good at what I do. That's why I'm here. So the grant coordinator costs us 110. Notice, we budgeted 81 of a static grant that was only 76. This coordinator got vacation time, sick time, and insurance paid for her entire family. Ask a question. Where? The grant doesn't allow for that. Then I terminate the grant. Listen, you would have thought that I walked into a field and stepped on bunnies. I'll tell you what's a bigger thing and I'm used to being in the hot seat. That's why I'm standing right here, not sitting way over there. So I get phone calls. Here's what I hear, which I've gotten used to here. That I don't value the veterans. I don't value, because it's a program for the veterans and the disabled American veterans and this and that. And listen, I'm going to share something with you. I am a combat veteran for the United States of America. And on top of it, I'm a disabled combat veteran. But for somebody to tell me that I don't respect my own is an insult. But I didn't get brought here to just dish out money. I got brought here to see how much money we have. See that email of the number for the other grant that we got that was sent to the president of the board. Because now I'm going to start putting out documentation. Do you remember seeing this email? That was an email explaining to you how the grant was set up and the monies that were involved, right? Okay. How many of those numbers were right, Sanchez? All those numbers are wrong. In fact, one of the grants is cited here. Here's what they said. You don't cover salary or benefits. That's not part of your grant. Not only that, today we got notification. Let me know if you want to see the emails. That says that we may be in danger of having to pay back $340,000 because our inability to submit the appropriate documentation and backup data. This goes back to September of last year? September of last year. You know when I found out about it? Today.
We got an email at 8:47 AM because I've been tracking it down and wondering what's going on with them because we have no financial records or information. Reconciling accounts, that's what I got hired to do. And we're told that there will be no extension granted and we have until January 31st.
Or we gotta pay back $340,000.
I have to be able to reconcile accounts. The last draw that was requested was denied because there is no proper documentation and past financial reporting is not reported to the federal government.
Okay, so I just added another $340,000. Okay, so when I calculated the budget, I'm assured that all of you two direct dollars, I'm sure that all of you looked at my budget because it's only like 7 or 8 pages. You can look at every single line item. You can see exactly what we're spending the money on. It's not 125 pages that you have to have like some kind of code book to decide. It's very straightforward. How do I make up for that? How do I see that coming? How short are we? My budget identified that we were going to be at $0 come June 30th. Remember, the TANs got killed on me. Somebody shut it off on me. Okay, so no more TAN. After it was already been used and has been used to balance our budget. No TANs. Not going to make budget. In October, the CPA says this to me. Dude, you guys going to make it? How the hell did you do that? Because I had to make some difficult decisions. That's what I'm paid to do. How much money did we have left over come October?
On the account, $90,000. I don't know. No.
November 1, we had $90,000.
And then that tax revenue, that LGIP.
That's
We get our
complete. Okay, now, I'm a fireman, but this number is a lot less than that number. And that's what you asked me to manage for you. I've only talked about grants.
verify one grant, sir, you said doesn't cover, one grant covers, the other grant does.
Okay, well, how much did that grant paid out for,
For salary, $45,000.
same deal with this? We got 76,000, but budgeted 81, but we were really paying 110. Unsustainable. I'm sorry if it makes somebody feel bad. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm walking into a case. I had a congresswoman call me and tell me, "Are you all right?" "Yeah, I'm good." Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff and I want to apologize to you. I don't understand why everybody's going down on you. It's your job to look under the hood. That's where I got that term from. That's what she said to me. She goes, "It's your job to look under the hood. You're doing a great job." Many thanks. I appreciate that. I don't need the accolades. I've achieved everything in my career that a fireman could possibly achieve and more. God has blessed me. The only reason that this place still has the lights on are those guys that are sitting right there. But let me tell you what's gonna happen now. I'm eliminating 2 positions. I'm telling you right now I have to. And I have to do it right now because I only have 6 months to be able to balance this budget. And I got, how much we got to make up?
1.9.
The county has only paid us how much?
Well, they projected 799, but it was original projection was a lot higher.
They're only projecting to give us 7,900,000. I budgeted 8.3 million because they said they were gonna give us 8.7. Now, I want you to understand this, the other district, we checked, they're only like $30,000 or $40,000 off for the maximum money. We're like, how many hundreds of thousands off?
Well, from that state, well, 700,000.
Okay, all right, are we seeing this? So now we're $700,000 off.
That's a public website. That's your tax number that you can go right on the county website. Okay.
After
Or was the latest one.
After December, the average amount of money that we got was somewhere in the neighborhood between 250 and 300,000 that came over. They owe us 7. If we don't get that $700,000, I don't know what we're gonna do. So now I have to balance the budget on the back of the very people that have been busting their butt for 2 years trying to help me untangle my grandma's yarn here.
The LBTC.
Oh, great. LBTC, this is a question for the board. Why did you refinance it? In 2016, you refinanced LBTC for a minimal savings. What did we pay for LBTC this year?
I actually had to come to a resolution to you guys to sign to change it because the information that was provided previously was obviously.
Okay, so shocking, right? The money that we said that we were supposed to pay for LBTC was wrong. So how much did we pay LBTC?
133,599.
How much do we have to pay next year?
Based on the schedule that was given for the contract, we had to go find 172,200.
Different zone? I love this guy. $40,000. Where's that budget? What? Why did we refinance? The payments keep going up. We're headed into a recession. Okay, $40,000. Great. Let me write that up here.
You saying it's variable rate?
We're not sure.
It did go up. It started at 2%, then it jumps to 3%, and then
Then it goes 4. So obviously it's some kind of variable rate.
that was signed in 2016.
All right. So you're seeing the pattern here, right? Okay, so I'm telling you right now, I'm eliminating 2 positions. I cannot manage this organization without the battalion chief. I cannot manage the organization without the division chiefs that I have. I can't. I want you to understand this too. Everything that I'm telling you, I told my entire staff on Wednesday, my staff meeting, because this was not gonna be the first time that they heard about it. Because also the whispers that I've gotten is, I don't tell them everything. These are the whispers that I've gotten, that I hear from here, that I don't tell them anything. I keep everything to myself. You know what? It's my job to do that. Because it's not my job to cause panic and mayhem. But you know what? It's over. You wanna know? I'll tell you. I told them. I had a conversation with Chief Mendola. I was like, "So Chief, you glad I told you?" He was like, may I be honest? Yeah, no. I know. All right, Chief Mendola? That's it, man. That's it in a nutshell. Let me tell you something. If I would have known it was like this, I would never have taken this position, ever. But I'm here now. I'm committed. I'm dedicated. I'm devoted. Because this is a great organization. We have great people that work here. And I am not going to abandon them. Because rest assured that if nothing had changed, this all compounds. Eventually, it would have come crashing down. Because it all grows. All these numbers exponentially grow. And our revenue is very finite. It's very limited. It doesn't grow as fast as all this is growing. I'm telling you, we've been dishing out benefits that actually cost dollars. Like we're a blackjack dealer at Vegas. We gave somebody sick time and vacation time that was funded by a contract, a grant that didn't have that included. And then when she left, she asked to cash out her sick time. Okay. So when you say we, there's no we in this. Board members, there's no we in this. I got brought here to fix it. Exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna leave this agency. I'm not gonna abandon this agency, and I'm gonna fix it. Now I'm gonna tell you how we're gonna get there. We reacted, instead of going for a 10, we ended up getting a revolving line of credit. Oh, guess what? Anybody here remember signing for a $500,000 line of equity at a bank? Right, no, you didn't. Because there's nobody's signatures here. A whole different issue. So we take another revolving line of credit. Now, Oregon state statute identifies what I can spend that money on. I'm still waiting to see what collective bargaining does. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. But you tell me where I'm gonna squeeze any money for. Tell me and I'll do it. So here's the plan. 5-year plan identifies that we have to have a contingency fund. All fire departments do it. Clackamas went through a collective bargaining agreement, had a big nightmare, and they had to kick out $4 million out of their emergency fund to recover. And they still laid off people and moved people, decreased, like I think their engine manning from 4 to 3 and things like that just to cover it. We don't have that. We don't have it. But we need to. So we're gonna budget for it. We're gonna make some cuts. We're gonna make some cuts. We're gonna tighten our belt. But we still have to manage this organization. I mean, you do realize that I only have $1.50 out of every $10 to buy trucks, buy medical equipment, to pay pay for infrastructure, to build stations because we need it. Listen, did anybody see the paper? The city's moving forward, and they're saying they're going to be done with that Riverwalk area by 2024, which they made an enterprise zone, which means I can't get any money for it. But who's going to have to cover it? Gable Apartments. That place looks like freaking Wally World. We've been tracking the call. I am telling you, that one is going to leave a mark. Guess what? Enterprise zone. No adjustment, federal project, no money allotted for infrastructure or support of public safety. It's all going to be Section 8 housing and assisted living facilities. I guarantee that's going to hurt. Look at my strengths and weaknesses. So, if you don't know, now you know, right? Now you know. Now everybody knows. So, here's what we got. We do have we have made cuts. I have to make more cuts. I have to make them now because I have to have 6 months that I have to save that money and be able to fix it. The last thing I want to do is reduce their salaries because I need all of them. It's 185 square miles. I need everybody that I have. You've got other agencies here that are teetering. Okay, so we're gonna make cuts. I'm going to reduce their salary. Public record, right? Public record. Recorded minutes. Here's the deal. If I give them a 1% pay cut, I'm taking 2. If I give them a 5% pay cut, I'm taking 10. If I give them a 10% pay cut, I will take 20. I dare somebody to tell me that I don't have the best interest of his organization. I dare you. Everything I do is about Columbia River. Everything. I bought a house here. I pay taxes here. This is my home. And Columbia River is my family. And I've been saying that since the day I got here, and I've been called a liar for it. I'll keep proving it. I don't care. I'm used to it. Now, before I end though, so that you realize that when I said I believe in a participative style of leadership, I'm gonna ask, see if there are any comments you made from my staff. But I want you to understand this. I listen to everything that they say, but the decisions are mine. I am the fire chief here. The responsibilities is mine. If I hurt feelings, it's me. But it's always done in the best interest of the district. Or our fire departments run differently on this side of the coast of the United States of America. I don't think so. Chief Smythe, anything?
I defer to Michelle.
Yeah, chief, are you done with the board?
Okay. Chief Sanchez, anything?
The only thing I would say is, if we're being fruitful, is if I would have known the financial state of this district and stuff, I can tell you, I'm married with 3 kids and I'm across the United States, I would have stayed in Florida, honestly.
On a monthly basis, this young man is telling me, what the hell did you get me into? He moved his whole family here because of me. Based on my reputation. Listen, I understand that here in Oregon, I'm nobody. Back home, that's not the case. People will come here to work with me, just to work with me based on my reputation. Call my IFF local and ask them how I am. They'll tell you. I got a 25-year union ring that proves it. Oh, it's a 20-year union ring that'll prove it. Anything else, Chief Sanchez?
No, sir, we do have a plan. There's a way forward for us to do it. One of the first things that we secured while we didn't cause any panic was getting what essentially is the TANs back. It's not the same thing, it's a revolving line, but the districts could have been using it. I did happen to, with the assistance of some of our staff, to find it in the board minutes that the TANs was still being used. So the idea that it was closed, the only thing that can be drawn from it is it was just to set us up. That's it. That's a failure. But it was still being used. It was in your board meeting minutes in the financial packet. The financial packet showed that. So I don't understand that one. That one was bewildering to say the least. But other than that, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. And look forward to fixing it.
So just trying to remember here. I remember when the TANs were closed, Gary, and anybody else on the board speak up. Then I remember being told that we had an existing like 1 million line of credit that we could use once we closed TANs that was available to us. I don't remember what institution it was from, but I believe that we were told that in our board.
Not accurate.
When we closed TANs.
Not accurate.
And
Not only is it not accurate, we got no reserve. And let me tell you something. We didn't even know where the accounts were. You know what this young man did? He had to drive to every bank institution in this area to ask if we had any accounts there. And did you find any?
yes, we found accounts that weren't recognized. Inroads had an account.
You know how many ORSs that goes against?
Bank of West had a line of credit for $500,000
That nobody signed for or took out or even got a board for.
what the board didn't sign for, which is literally against ORS.
Money was pulled for the TANs without any kind of approval or authority from anybody. That's like, I mean, that's not best practice. Keep it dull, anything? Palsy? All right, Marshall? You cool?
The only thing I have to say is, being in the position I'm in, Chief Medina kind of brought me in months ago before September. And everything that I advised him or suggested to do, I did it. it's kind of the weight that I've been carrying for a while as far as finances, but I said, I told him I'm a big boy, you can tell him. Even sat down with Chief Sanchez, looked over stuff diligently quite a few weeks ago.
But here's the deal, there's a plan. So I'm not gonna share everything with everybody, but it's not out of any malicious, it's because I don't want them to panic. And trust me when I tell you that some of them are very uneasy about their positions. Got a plan. It'll be outlined. I need a couple of things that are outside my control to get finalized, and then we can move forward. I see the organization not as it is, but as it should be and as it can be. I don't know how to do it any other way. I just don't. Anything else, Chief Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to add a couple things. I think the chief stated, obviously, it's a lot for you to digest. And the fact of this, but it's like Chief Sanchez, except I'm a better older and better looking person. Moved here almost a decade ago with my family, 1,000 miles, to a place I didn't know anybody. Because I wanted to be part of something. And I still believe there is greatness in this organization. I believe we will get through this. I believe we will survive. We will go on. We have some of the best firefighters I've ever worked with in my career. And there's some great paramedics out there and we take care of the public. Does this suck? Yes, it does. But can I go someplace else? Yeah, there's a boatload of chief jobs out there right now.
Howard's too.
But I believe in this organization. Move my family here. My family's here. My daughter goes to school here. I'm embedded in the community. And I believe we will make it through this. It's gonna be tight. I think with the staff that we have and then the chief that's leading us, we will find a way through this. We actually have a way through this. It's just going to be tight. And it won't be, carrying buddies to the field or stomping them, but it's going to take effort on all of our parts. Am I thrilled about a pay cut? No. I'm not, right? I got bills just like everybody else. But if that's what makes what allows this care organization through, I'd rather see it through. When I leave this organization, I want to know I left it better place than I found it. I believe we are headed in the right direction.
I know it's recorded. I'll take twice the cut that I have to make for everybody else. Twice. Without blinking an eye. That's why they call it growing pains. Because we're growing, we will grow. I said before that this organization has potential to be the model for professional fire service in Northwestern Oregon. That mindset hasn't changed at all. The last 2 years, tough. Now you know why. Now God and everybody knows why. And again, if you don't believe me, okay, you don't have to. Ask me. I'll show you the documentation with signatures, with dates of how all this happened. You can't argue with those. You don't have to believe me. You can read about it. That's the end of the chief officer's report. Does anybody have anything they want to add or ask me? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do have a question for you, Chief. Yeah, a question for you. Will we see a plan by next board meeting
What plan? The strategic plan?
to get through this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, well, here's the deal. We had to ask for an extension for the audit. Okay, now I want you to understand something else we found out. I mean, I'm just telling you a tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to it than this. For example, the CPA identified, and we talked about this at closed executive session. He showed you. The audit has shown a deficit year after year after year. The audit is not to identify whether you have enough money or not. It's just to identify if you reported it right. That's all. But we're missing so much documentation and the record keeping is so horrible that we had to ask for an extension from the state. When's that extension? Just
February 28th is the last day, so it will be turned in on or before that date if it's required.
I have to have that report before I can tabulate everything, but as we go to work with it, I'm gonna know how short we are and what we have to do. My last choice is to make pay cuts. That's my last choice. But I do know that I'm gonna have to eliminate positions. That's a certainty. Okay, and I'll advise the board. I mean, I'll present the board as to how I'm gonna do that and who's gonna get eliminated. Okay, and I'll be doing that in the best interest of the organization. It is what it is. Numbers don't lie.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got is, revenue expenditures.
No, I think I covered revenue expenditures and grants and
Revenue.
grant review with the state of the district.
Okay. One more time, any other questions for the chief before we move on? Okay, old business, civil service board.
The Civil Service Board is up and running finally. We had our first meeting. There's some housekeeping we need to do about decisions that were made during COVID that were made, but not necessarily documented, as well as it could have been. There's a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of stuff that we've been doing, but we're moving ahead with actually doing that. The Civil Service Board is now running and moving forward. We met already. We'll meet again in February because of the rule changes that we had. There's specific ORSs that identifies how we have to say and what we have to do to change the wording. And we have some things that are going to council for clarification to make sure that we're changing the wording appropriate. That's on the list.
Any questions for the chief on that? Okay, then next year is recruitment and retention. Did you?
Yeah, we're dire in need of paramedics. I can tell you that. We've been doing everything that we can to try to see about enhancing our paramedic corps. I can tell you that one of our administrative staff officers is involved in the actual testing process that signs off paramedics. Normally, he says that they get anywhere between 25 and 30 people that apply to sign off. This year, they got 10. And only 7 passed. That means for the entire state of Oregon, there are 7. So basically, if you have a pulse, a heartbeat, and a paramedic certificate, you can work anywhere you want. So we're looking to go outside. We've also looked at what we can do to lure people here. And one of the things that we can do is there are limits we can do because of collective bargaining. But we're getting a council's opinion as to what we can do that does not impact collective bargaining to be able to lure people to come in. We're moving forward with that. All right, Chief Halsey is actually working with the state to see if we can eliminate or suspend the degree component of paramedics. Because paramedics isn't a shortage for us, it's a shortage for everybody. It's a shortage for everybody. Yeah, most states don't require the degree component. Where I come from, they don't require that. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I do have it. I do have my paramedic degree, which is one of the things that's going to allow me to bring my paramedics over from Florida to here. But yeah, it's a real problem.
That's not with us. This is just a thing to work with the state to change.
Yes, that's got nothing to do with you. Chief Halsey and some of the chiefs are already actively involved with the Oregon Fire Chiefs Association to try to see if we can approach the legislative to make that change or suspend it.
Okay, moving on to new business, we have first the Volunteer Service Corps.
Volunteer Service Corps. I've met with the Volunteer Service Corps coordinators several times, and I've met with the actual board, Jane and Jake and all those guys. We've talked. They identified certain things that they're looking for, and certain things that they would like to see, because we're dwindling our volunteer corps And that's the essence of this organization. So it's very important to me. So I've approached with Chief Mandola. I talked to him and I told him that in March is when we're probably gonna be talking about that. Because we've got some other things that we have to deal with to see what we could do about enhancing and changing the manner by which we do recruiting and retention for the volunteers.
Okay, next on new business is, fire chief yearly performance eval. I think that's more for me, just to let everyone know. So, I'll be getting to you guys. I was trying to do before the meeting, but, like we did last year, we'll get, everybody a copy of the form we used, assuming that form is acceptable to everybody. Need to fill it out in about 2-3 weeks. And then, I think what we'll do, the last time I think what we did is we took, because we've got a numbering scheme, we'll put that together and then have it and present it at the next, so in February. But I'll get that. And I think I checked with you, chief, that that form is the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we used the same one. I think there was some typographic errors to fix those, and then we'll, but just the notice to let you guys know that's coming down the pipe, and we'll need to turn that around a week or two after you get.
One more thing I'd like to say is that we have plaques for the 3 service board members, civil service board members that served for over 30 years. Somewhere in that neighborhood, different ranges, but roughly, and one of them has passed away. We're looking to give that plaque to the wife. And then we're gonna present the other 2 with the plaque, and we're hoping to do that at the next board meeting. I just wanted to let because some of you have asked about what it is that we're gonna do for them. We already have the plaques ordered. That's how we're moving forward.
Okay, thanks, chief. Okay, next on agenda, board member comments. Mark, do you want to start?
Yeah, chief, thank you for your candor. I mean, it's tough for me to sit here and listen to that. But I appreciate what you've done for this organization and digging, and for your entire staff, not just you.
Right. It
Your entire staff.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just, was hard for me to listen to that. But I understand. I've got a seminar I'm going to on Friday, put on by special districts on legislative issues. I got a board meeting on Saturday for Oregon Fire District Directors Association. So this weekend's gonna be kind of busy for me, but yeah, that's it.
Is Kim still on the phone?
Think so.
Want to give her now?
She is, yeah.
Kim, do you have anything to, on, board member comment?
That's, you guys did a really good job on putting that together. Thank you. I know it's not easy. I am hoping in everything I have that we can get through this without too many scrapes and bruises. And hopefully we can get down to the other side where we can keep going up. Good job, guys. You guys have been doing fantastic job. Sorry I missed last month. Was really looking forward to seeing everybody, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So keep up the good work, and maybe I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Kim. We hope so too. Really?
That's a lot to digest. And that hurts. So the only thing I'll say is, so to everybody sitting there across the room from me, I will offer, the only thing I can do is offer an apology. Because I feel that myself as a board member has not done enough of asking questions and looking into things, which is part of the duties and responsibilities of the members of this board. So yeah, I don't want to see cuts, because like I said, it's the people that are our greatest asset in this organization. And when we throw the word cuts around, regardless of what level it's at, that hurts the public that we're supposed to serve. So I would welcome anybody that has comments of how I can do better so that we don't get to this spot again. I would welcome that. I think most everybody sitting over there has my phone number for my personal phone or anything like that. Feel free to get in touch with me. I welcome any corrective criticism that you have. Thank you.
I appreciate the effort that's been made, you know, I mean, we've had to do a lot of looking back. The only reason you have to look back is to find out how you got where you are now. And we'll probably keep doing that for a little bit. I think we have a pretty good idea where we are now. Now we can start to look forward, and that's why I'm here. I think it's for most board members here. I think that's why you guys. So to that end, I feel your pain. I kind of share Kelly's chagrin at our performance, or I'm not gonna say Alex, my performance. But I appreciate what you guys have done, and I'm gonna be looking forward. Thank you.
For me, I mean, I do share a lot of, this one, but at the same time, I'm really impressed with, the amount of effort you guys have done, and you're doing exactly what the board asked you to do, which is look under the hood, done it. I wish it was better than the hood, but it's not. That sucks. But, gotta do this. So, and but I do believe we need to have a better organization going on. So, that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Like, one more thing, Joe? Thanks for it. I cut you off, man.
So just for my own benefit, and I will ask, this is more to Kate, Chief Sanchez. In order for myself to do better, to look at this and have a little more time and kind of do that work-life balance that I try to pull off unsuccessfully, is there any possibility of getting our board packet a little bit sooner before this meeting so that I have a little bit more time to look into things, generate questions, and do that?
Well, it goes out on Thursday. How much more time than Thursday are you looking at?
So that's what,
So you get
4 or 5 days?
Yeah, you know, the idea with Thursday, so you have Friday and the weekend to look for it.
Well, you're cutting into my beer drinking time.
Well, I don't want to do that. God forbid. So you tell me how much more time you have and I'll make it happen.
We get a couple more days, so it's a week in advance.
How about Tuesday?
I'm good with that.
Okay,
That would be, if we can get a week in advance, give us a little bit more time to look at things, digest things. Maybe ask some more questions and help look under the hood that I haven't been doing. I
No.
appreciate it.
now let me make a comment on that you're more than welcome to do. When you get the paperwork, if you have questions, call me. Call me. I mean, if you call me, I have the information. You know, I mean, I've been begging people to talk to me. You know, call me. I'll tell you. I'll clarify it. If you don't understand something, I'll let you know. You know, or I'll direct you to one of my guys that do. I can tell you this is that I am completely transparent. I just don't want to be another way. Again, when I make decisions, some of them will be painful. There's no feeling involved. There's that. The organization that has to survive.
Okay, anything else? Well, I should give you guys another chance for that. Okay, that's, meeting for tonight. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.